focusing on your goals, so all your activities can be directed towards something. What you're going to cover is the following. Some big platforms that we all know: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Google My Business, underutilized, but we'll talk about it. How to leverage live video, and then LinkedIn, Twitter, podcasting, virtual summits, more and more popular. Background: who are Mark and I? We are brothers, first of all. We have about 7 years, roughly, experience in this, about 95,000 online students to this point, and I have a social media agency where I do this for many businesses: orthodontists, dentists, surgeons. Content Marketing Closet, my brother created that, teaches you all about how to use information to market yourself and your business. Westchester Fairfield County Business Journal columnist for social media, we are that, and we created Guberti Giving, which is a nonprofit. If any of you know organizations that help youth, single moms, or veterans, feel free to talk to me, because those are our 3 audiences of interest. We like to empower them every year with some type of workshop. So that's who we are. And this is the different type of industries we serve: authors, architects, realtors, publishers, orthodontists, feng shui school people, and medical estheticians, among some other people. So that's the background. When creating your social media strategy, some things to keep in mind are: start with your goals, because you can get everything else first. Live video optimization, landing page optimization, but you got to know what you're after first, and then set a deadline so that you have some urgency to make this happen. For example, some could be get 100 likes in a month, or get 500 Messenger subscribers in 90 days, or receive 1,000 total views on your upcoming live video. Just got to put numbers to it in terms of what you want and then when you want it. And with that, we mentioned Facebook first. Here are the 5 elements of an engaging Facebook post. One is clear and concise wording. Get right to the point. Don't mess up or waste any characters that are not needed. Emphasizing the benefits, because that's what people really want. What transformation can your product or service bring to me? And then you need some type of visual, an image, a video, a GIF that'll grab their attention. Stop the scroll. That's the job of a post. People are scrolling, they're at Starbucks waiting for their coffee. You got to stop their post scrolling. Link to your website. Bouncing people from one platform to another. Get them to take little actions that can lead to bigger ones in the future, like using your product or service. Including a call to action. You got to have people do something. Book now, sign up, learn more. Get quote, schedule call. Did you find the phone?
Gosh, I did.
Okay. Nice job. Post consistently, set a schedule, and say current. Now, schedule part, not everybody does that, but the reason that you have to is because if you don't, it might look like you're out of business. You could have a very successful business, but not post in a month. Some people are starting to wonder if everything's okay. If they don't know you, then they're like, man, you could be a better business, post less, and people might think that the other person is better than you because they post more, which would be the opposite of what reality is. Then find out what your audience wants. What do they like the most? What do they comment on the most? What do they repost most often? That's hints as to what you should create in the future. And run contests. These are useful engagement tools. Specifically, I'm going to talk about Facebook contests. What are the elements of a successful one? And they are as follows. So here's an example of one of them where you see some of the qualifications. Comment on the pinned post, or it's just a post that you pin to the top of your page. You can win this, and you can have one winner. You could have 3 winners. You know, spot 1, spot 2, spot 3. 5 elements of an engaging contest. Here's all the words, but I'm going to break it down. Really, what those words are is do something. So comment on this post. Get the most likes on your comment by the deadline. You need a deadline, because then you could say 48 hours left, 24 hours left, 1 day left, 6 hours left, 1 hour left. Top 3 entries with the most likes win. Maybe you have only 1 winner, but that's fine. Then post a picture. Here's more of the, you can only post 1 picture. You don't want somebody posting 3 pictures and saying, but I got the most likes. Yeah, but not on 1 single picture. This other person did. Now you got a battle between the contestants. You don't want that. Post only 1 picture. The deadline is this. Here's a big one. They have to pick up the prize at your location, take a picture with you, photo op. Great material for you to post after the fact. And what do you think they're going to share when they're being spotlighted as the winner? They're going to share that. And you mentioned mention how you're going to record it. Just say, I'm going to take a screenshot this day and time, and we're going to use that. Then define what a like is. Just you have likes, loves, ha's, wows. Tell them what a like is, and it's any type of Facebook reaction. And then, of course, you can give an example. 10 thumbs up, 10 hearts, 20 likes. All this isn't subject to us, since we're putting on the contest, and the legalese. It's not in any way associated to Facebook. They require you put that because they want to be legally non-liable. So that's Facebook. But now we're going to move to Instagram because we're really talking about the same company, since Facebook owns Instagram. So the piece on that is, how do you get more followers on this platform? Engagement, likes, comments. These 4 strategies might be of use to you. One is you like other people's posts. If you want some engagement, you got to give some engagement. Because you're going to show up when they're scrolling through their feed. Oh, this person liked my last 3 posts. Who are they? A percentage of the people, if you like a bunch of people's posts, some of them are going to actually check out your account and decide to follow you. So that's how the give and take works. And it gets you on somebody's radar, and you say, well, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm committed. What do I like and comment on? You have to like and comment on videos and posts related to your industry, your business. So if you're a parenting coach, comment and like videos related to parenting strategies. And then you can apply that to your situation. Post valuable, engaging content. This is a fundamental here and very useful. I got a bunch of examples about what you can consider posting. Behind the scenes. People love behind the scenes. Live video previews. We're going to go live in an hour, guys. Just wanted to let you know. Hang with us. In 60 minutes, we'll be discussing this. Office walkthroughs, new product arrivals, before and after pictures. Perhaps one of the most engaging ways to really grip somebody with your visuals. Office, for example. You work hard if you have a physical location to make it good, showcase it. And this is a med spa example, one of them that I work with. This is a before and after picture of a feng shui architect. This was before they walked in, and this is what it looks like after. This was before, and that was after. So really show the transformation, because that's what people are buying. A better after state. Before at the top, after on the bottom, med spa. Before on the, what is that, your left, after on your right. Top before, bottom after. So use before and afters. Go with the frequency your audience literally likes the best. And positive likes and comments is interest. If there's interest, there might be an intention to buy. So go with that. 3 of 4, halfway home on the Instagram strategies, is respond to comments in 24 to 48 hours, if not sooner. If you're nimble and quick, just get to it as soon as it comes in. But give them the attention of your focus and the gift of your own focus. 4 of 4, engaging, visually appealing Instagram stories. Benefit being you can cross-post it to Facebook, 2 platforms, 1 effort, to just save some time there. But why stories? They tend to get more reach than posts right now, the way things currently work. God bless you. Thank you. So here's an example of what a story is. For those of you not familiar, it's shaped in that way, and you can do plenty of different things with this. You got stickers, you can tag people, you can put a quote of what they're saying, another sticker, you could mention what's going on, you could draw with your finger, and you could highlight some visuals, and you could even point out a sale. So you got 6 great story images, all been about, hey, check that this cool thing. And then the 7th and last one could be 20% off this week only on whatever you do, because you got them looking at it now. You could stack words like that, which is pretty cool. And here in one singular slide is everything that they just did. Add text, hashtags, draw with your finger, leverage swipe up functionality only available to Instagram accounts with 10,000 followers or more. Add your location, pin stickers within a video, and stack letters in a staircase style. So with that, go make incredible Instagram stories with those strategies. And now, regarding the swipe function, a lot of clients of mine want that. So we got to get their followers up to do that. So how would I recommend doing that? One engaging bonus strategy to grow your followers and engagement is running an Instagram giveaway. These things are very useful for a lot of reasons. You can offer a free incentive. Could be a book, could be a free lip treatment, could be a strategy call, could be an in-office visit. For example, this is a person giving away their book, Holistic Spaces, 101 Ways to Create a Mindful peaceful home. But there were three requirements for you to enter this giveaway. You had to follow the page, step one, so you boost your followers that way. You had to like the post talking about the giveaway, so now you got engagement, followers, engagement. And then you had to tag 3 friends as a comment in the post. You got followers, you got engagement, and you got digital referrals going out. One person is saying to 3 of their friends, check out this page. That's very useful. So that's Instagram. Five strategies total. But now we're going to talk about video, very specific platform, YouTube for that. Over 1 billion users, 7 billion people on the planet means they've got about 12% of the planet in their platform. 5 billion videos watched every 24 hours. From the horse's mouth, they say that videos with higher watch times show up in recommendations and in the search engine. So what do? You got to get people to watch more of your video. How can you do that? In the first 8 seconds, you got to capture their attention. That's why if you see somebody on YouTube, they're really big, they really try to grip you in those first seconds because they want to prevent you from scrolling away. Makes sense. And then this is like the text side where you're almost SEOing your video. You got to put in the search terms and the search video titles specific words that you would want your ideal client to be searching for. So how to get a better jump shot if you're a basketball coach, or how to, and then you put in whatever benefit they're after. Call to action, some overlapping themes because they're important. In your end screen, that's the only difference on YouTube. When it comes to the very end of a video, you got those rectangles on the side of the video. Those are called end screens, which if you click on those can bring you to another video, can bring you to a website. You can send them wherever you want. And hopefully it has a business purpose attached to it, wherever you're sending them. And how do you make those, like the text side? You press add card, and you got a bunch of different options for that. You can send them to a playlist, channel, poll, some market research opportunities there. Custom thumbnails. For those of you who don't know, thumbnail is the thing you see before you watch the video. Customize that. You can have it be whatever you want and make it as engaging as possible so they want to watch. And then consistently publishing new content, always important to do. It's a pillar of all of these platforms that you can use to spread your message far and wide. Just use everything you got. Why not? You're putting your effort into the promotion, so use everything you have. Now, so that's all social properties. This is now search properties. Google My Business, very underutilized. For local businesses, Apple Store Greenwich, example, if you search that into Google, you would find a rectangle on the right side of your screen. It would display everything from reviews and descriptions and hours. What does that mean? Well, if you have a physical location, you probably have a Google My Business account. It used to be called Google Places, now it's called Google My Business. Verify you own it, because Google doesn't know that you own it, only if you just create it. And then if someone else could claim ownership of it if they wanted to. What someone else could also do is make an edit to your listing, including your competitors. So I would check that your information is accurate and up to date, especially maybe, for example, you list out your staff and 2 left last year, but you didn't update it. How good is that going to look when they come in asking for Jen and Jen is gone? So make sure you check any pending edits. Make sure it's accurate information. All someone ever has to do is press suggest edit, and they can change any part of it. You just got to be on top of that. Update, this is the perfect time of year. Holiday hours, just people know, are you open on this day or not? And post to it. I'd say this is the least utilized function of the whole thing. If you post to your Google My Business listing, you're more likely to be found on Google because they're like, someone's using our platform, let's give them more reach. You're rewarded with that. And it shows up in your knowledge panel, which is just the bottom of that rectangle you saw. So another listing, this part where the jewelry is being shown, that's the Google My Business post section. And if you don't post anything, they will email you saying to post something. And it'll say, add a fresh post, what's new and exciting, just encouraging you to use what they have because they will reward you. This is one of the clients I'm working with inside their Google My Business dashboard, posting it to it regularly. Their post received 281% more views than similar businesses. You are going to be found more on a search engine if you use its properties. And this is one of them. Include a description, list your services. Back to my med spa example, what type of massages do you have? Swedish, hot rocks, deep tissue, put them all down so people, if they're looking for that and they search it, more likely to find you. So, that's search back to social. Live video. Very useful. People usually have one of two opinions. Either they're very willing to do it or they're not willing to do it at all. But here's where you could. Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, Periscope. A little strategy on that in a minute. But pick a day and time, preferably based on all my followers at 3:30 on a Tuesday are most likely to be on this platform. That's when you should go live. Let them tell you by their behavior when are they most likely to be using the platform. And here's what you should do. If I had a promotional 1-week game plan, if I'm going live next Wednesday, here's what I'm doing before next Wednesday. I'm emailing my subscribers. I'm emailing them again the day before. Going live the day before. So if I'm scheduled to go live on Wednesday, I'm going live on Tuesday. To say, I'm going live tomorrow. Why don't you join me? And then the day of, emailing them again, going live 1 hour before, and going live when I'm actually scheduled to. Just to build up the conversation and the buzz and the momentum. And then when you're comfortable with it, go live on more than one platform at the same time. Do 4 at once. That will be, first of all, none of your competitors are doing that, I can tell you right now. And you'll also reach quite a few people in that video. So that's the nuanced strategy on going live. And we have another platform of interest we all know and love, and that's Twitter. And my brother can speak to that more, considering he has about 500,000 Twitter followers, and was picked by Damon John of Shark Tank, you all familiar with him? To promote his last 2 New York Times best-selling books. Handpicked my brother to promote that. So why don't you talk about Twitter and how you did that? How to build your Twitter tribe.
So Michael covered a lot of ground on social media. We're going to be talking about this big blue bird pretty soon. Something that I want you all to know about, I really like Instagram also. So if anyone records me talking and posts it on their Instagram, I will give you a free month of my Advanced Influencer Mastermind, just something that I thought I'd throw out there for anyone who is interested. You can tag me, Marc, M-A-R-C, G-U-B-E-R-T-I. That is my Instagram handle. So if you record me at any point during this presentation, I'll give you that free month of the Advanced Influencer Mastermind. Going into Twitter, so how exactly do we grow on this big blue bird, grow our Twitter tribe, grow our audience? And just like any social network, you have to start by thinking about the social aspect. So the focus is how do we not just grow an audience, but build a meaningful audience. This is where interaction kicks in. So you could use polls to ask questions to get people's feedback. This is actually a really great feature because by getting these kinds of answers, like this was a poll from 2015, so I see people on Twitter understandably think Twitter is the most important social network for business, but the great thing about polls is that if you get people's answers as to what they want, that can help with creating better products that your audience wants. So that's a great benefit to polls that you can put on Twitter. And interacting with your audience also means something as simple as thanking them for sharing your content. Because if you thank someone for sharing your content, which is something very few people do, they will be more inclined to share again and again and again. And if you thank some people for sharing your content and you keep doing that, don't be surprised if you find yourself thanking the same people over and over again because they keep sharing your content. And we have the whole interaction down, but what do we do after the interaction? What do we do after we've got that part down? Well, that's when we talk about expansion. We talked about interaction first because the interaction is how we actually build a meaningful audience. Once we expand, that's when we get to expand the audience. That's why we get to interact with more people. So expanding your audience on Twitter all comes down to connecting with the right people. And connecting with the right people, there are 3 parts to this. The first part are influencers. People who, in your niche, they have big audiences and they have your target market, the people who you want in your community. The second group of people are active people, because you can be engaging with a bunch of people, but if you are engaging with people who haven't tweeted or haven't been on social media for the past 2 years, you're engaging with people who are not going to engage back with you. So you want to make sure they are active. And finally, we have avatar. This is where we get really specific about who we actually engage with. So it could be someone in, let's say you target small business owners. How old is that small business owner? What niche is that person in? Does that person do products, services, training courses, books? Is the person all digital? Is the person retail? Like, get really clear on who your audience is, and then start finding those people on Twitter and engaging with those people, communicating with them, and this is how you expand your audience one interaction at a time with the right people. And you may be wondering, how exactly do we make money from social media? ROI, that's the big question for social media. How exactly do we transfer all this time on Twitter or anyone else and make money from it? And the answer is, after providing them with a lot of value, with a lot of free content, you then promote something called an opt-in page. So this is one of my pages, 27 ways to get more retweets on Twitter. Basically, it's a free ebook. You enter your email address, you get access to it, and then you get put into an email sequence. And I can continue to build a relationship through email lists, which is, your email list is your most valuable online asset. And when you get them on your email list, that's where, if you look on your email list, you will see, I mean, if you look in your inbox, you will see some person promoting something. Like, you'll see maybe Amazon in there sharing their latest deal, or someone promoting their like $100 product, or whatever it is. You see people promoting things that cost money. You don't see that as much on Twitter or the social networks, because people don't go on social media to buy stuff. They go on social media to connect with friends, see what's happening, escape. There's a lot of different reasons people go on social media, but buying products is not one of them. So using the opt-in page and getting people to enter their email address, that's how you get people to buy things. And one cool hack with Twitter is that you can pin a tweet to the top of your page. Now, this has nothing to do with Pinterest, which we will be covering very soon, but pinning a tweet basically means you take one tweet, regardless of when you posted it, and that tweet goes on the top. So if anyone goes on my Twitter now, that is the tweet you will see of my free ebook. And the reason that pinning your tweet is so valuable is because this tweet, like, in a few weeks, will be 4 years old, and it's gotten over 2,000 retweets, it's gotten over 3,600 likes, people have replied to it over 200 times, and those are some really good statistics that indicate social proof for the product. So it's one thing to promote something that has 0 retweets, 0 likes, no engagement. It's another thing when you promote something that says, hey, this 3,600 people liked it, 2,000 people retweeted it. It's a completely different product because of that social proof. So that is one thing you can do to a tweet that you want to drive some extra exposure to, especially something as valuable as an opt-in page. So now that we've covered Twitter, let's talk about Pinterest. So how exactly do we become successful on Pinterest? And Pinterest is different from all the other social networks because of this, group boards. Group boards are what can literally allow you to get 10 or 1,000 or 20,000 or 30,000, 50,000 followers overnight. Because what happens is, group boards need contributors to create the pins. That's how these group boards operate. And if you go to a group board and you ask if I can contribute to that group board, some say no, some say yes, but you eventually get yeses. And some of those boards have 10,000 followers or even more than that, and now when you pin on one of those group boards, all of a sudden you have 10,000 people who are seeing that pin. So that's the power of being a contributor to group boards. You can also create your own group boards, because then on the flip side of that, you have hundreds of people potentially pinning on your group board, and you don't have to worry about scheduling new content. It's all done for you for all the people in your group, and then you only have to pin maybe once or twice or a day or every once in a while, because all these other members are doing it for you. And on Pinterest, there's this is an important distinction. Like, Pinterest has like these different setups. So Pinterest has the follow all button. That's how you actually follow someone, and then you can follow individual boards. So when someone hits the follow all button, they don't just follow, like, if someone hits follow all on me, they would follow all of my boards, but they would also follow all the boards that I am a contributor for. So imagine if you have 10,000 people contributing to all of your group boards, and you spread that out. And each of them gains like 10 followers in 1 month, let's say, on average, that's 100,000 people spread out who are following your group boards. So that's the power that Pinterest provides if you were able to get a lot of high quality contributors. The only downside to getting contributors is that some of them, you just have to watch out that some of them will be spammy. So if you're able to monitor the group board and make sure it's good and make sure that there's one person that's not just sending out these random pins, you will do really good with this group board strategy. But none of this really matters unless you are pinning the right content, because you can have a great group board, but stuff that normally wins on Twitter, on Facebook, even on Instagram, may not necessarily win on Pinterest, because the social network has a completely different setup where vertical pictures are going to win. Pinterest only has around 4 columns, and that's why you cannot make a picture too horizontal. It cannot be like this, because Pinterest has that limit, but there's no limit to how long a picture can be. So that's why if you go on Pinterest, you will see a lot of really long infographics and really lengthy pictures, because there's no limit to how long a picture can be on Pinterest. And that's just one of the elements of a winning pin. But in addition to optimizing your pin and making sure that it has some of those winning elements like being descriptive, really standing out, you also want to have a mix of sharing your content and other people's content. And you can share other people's content just as simply as repinning someone else's pin, because it does take some time to create these really great pictures that are optimized to do well on Pinterest, and then spend the time to create your own pictures. So that's one of the elements there. You want to do a mix of you posting your own stuff and sharing other people's stuff. And with Pinterest, you have the description also. There are hashtags on Pinterest. Hashtags are pretty much on almost every single social network. Pinterest is no exception. But with Pinterest, they give you a lot more characters to play with than, let's say, Twitter, which now gives you 280. Pinterest is in that 500 character range. So in the description, use a call to action. So I'll be showing you a picture really soon of what I did for one of my blog posts, but if I share a blog post, I will say click on the picture to read the blog post. If it's a picture of one of my podcast episodes, I will say click the link to view the show notes, or you can listen to the episode on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. So you want to make sure you have a call to action in the description. So as I alluded to earlier, here are 2 examples of good pictures on Pinterest. The first one, 7 ways to grow your email list. You see the title of the blog post right there. So people click on the picture, they know what they're getting. Something important about that picture though, my website, marcguberti.com, that is branded on the picture. So when you put pictures up on Pinterest, Instagram, or anywhere else, make sure they are branded like that, so people are familiar with your brand. So whether it's your website like mine or one of your logos, which I'll show another picture later that actually has one of my logos on it, you want to incorporate branding with your pictures. And second is a picture of real estate property. So one of the things to consider about something like a real estate property is that when you take the picture, take it vertically with your phone like this, because that's the way that Pinterest is designed. If you take it horizontally, then you are going to get a compressed picture, because there's a limit to how wide your picture can be, not a limit to how long it can be. So that's something to note about Pinterest. And I mean, Pinterest is a really underrated social network in my opinion. Another really underrated social network is LinkedIn. And I think one of the misconceptions about LinkedIn is that some people think that the only way you can use LinkedIn is to find a job, or to say to someone, hey, we have a job and we're looking for someone to hire. There is a lot more for LinkedIn, even if you are self-employed, even if you are an entrepreneur. So LinkedIn is really a network for everyone, because it has a focus on building relationships. And it does this really well because when you send a message to someone, they get notified through email. And email is the #1 way to build relationships. If you're able to take the conversation through email, you're building a relationship. Now, there are some better ways like phone calls and face-to-face that build relationships, but in terms of being on the computer, the best way to do it is through email, and LinkedIn really gets you there quickly. And not only is LinkedIn great at helping you build relationships, but it's also great at helping you find the right people. So you can get really deep with something on LinkedIn. I could search for podcast hosts who have business podcasts who live in New York City. That's how deep you can get with something like LinkedIn. And finally, as an added bonus, they throw in LinkedIn publishing, which is basically you get to publish your own blog on LinkedIn. You can even, if you already have a blog or you already have a podcast, you can take that content and republish it on LinkedIn, because that's going to drive even more visibility for your existing content. So you may be wondering, LinkedIn, it's a really great platform, but the key thing is the people on the platform, finding the right people, being able to connect with people who are going to help you grow. And there are 3 big categories for people you need to connect with. The first are the decision makers. So my goal, for one of them anyway, get on more podcasts. Who's the decision maker? Podcast hosts. I reach out to them. If you want to be a public speaker, speak on more stages, you reach out to event organizers, because those are the people who make the decisions. So who is the decision maker for the goal that you're at? And start searching terms like that, like their title, like event organizer, podcasters. And you will find people who fit that criteria. And again, you could go really deep. Like you could search for people in New York City, you could search for people in Stanford, you could search for people in any geographical location and find them if local is your theme. You also want to look for endorsers. So what I mean by endorser is on LinkedIn, you can endorse people for certain skills. Connect with people who have endorsed people for skills that you are trying to develop, build a relationship with them, and then they may endorse you someday for those same skills. So that's one approach you can take in order to build up your LinkedIn profile, because people do look at those endorsements to see basically what your skills are and how many people say, yes, that person is good at this skill. And finally, look at other people's LinkedIn networks and connect with them. It's not uncommon to see someone with hundreds of thousands of Twitter or Instagram followers or Facebook likes, and then under 1,000 LinkedIn connections. And it's important to note that distinction, because when it's under 1,000 people who are connected, that basically means that's the people who are deeply ingrained within your network. So those are people who you want to know, and that will help you expand your network, because your network is your net worth. So with LinkedIn, you really have to be in it to win it, because relationship building, it's not an instant gratification thing. You have to really be in it for the long game in order to reap the results. And if you want someone to engage with you on LinkedIn, you need to have a good profile. And there's really 3 steps to this. First is the summary. In 5 sentences or less, who are you? What do you do? That's a summary. Then the how can I help you tab. You list a bunch of ways that you can help them. So I list books, courses, you could go deeper like coaching, other things, but how do you help the person? Finally is the recap. So basically 3 action items for people to take if they want to go in that direction. And something really important here, 2 things. First, I include a lot of links. So we have links there, we have a link there. It's really important to include links to get people off of LinkedIn so they're comfortable viewing you in multiple places. Second, we have some social proof here. I mentioned some of the people I have interviewed on my podcast. I mentioned the amount of books I've written. I mentioned a bunch of different things that boost credibility. So those are 2 important things to also remember as you're working on your LinkedIn profile. I recommend, though, you look at your profile that you have and update it, because chances are you created your profile when you first got on LinkedIn or whatever social network you're on, and a lot of things have changed since you last wrote your profile. So I do recommend making some time to update it. And when it comes to social media, part of the strategy is what content are you going to share with people. And there are blogs, there are videos, but I'm going to recommend podcasting, because podcasting is something that seems to grow every single year and presents a unique opportunity to powerful networking, relationship building, a lot of knowledge, and also building an audience. So there are 2 big steps to this. The first is, the first way you can approach podcasting is getting on other people's shows. And that means contacting as many podcast hosts as possible. And if you want to contact a lot of hosts, you have to find a lot of podcasts on them. So one of the things I mentioned earlier, on LinkedIn, you can search for podcast hosts. That's one way. You can use iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher to find more podcasts. You can type something in Google, like business podcast. But if you do that on Google, you will see like top 10 business podcasts on some site like Inc. So you will see some of the A players when you type it into Google, while those other options I provided give you a bigger umbrella of what's available. So find more podcasts. Once you find them, focus on value. What can you provide? And communicate to people, this is the value that I can provide in something called a one sheet, which will be on the next slide. And when you do pitch to these people, make your email 5 sentences or less, because if you make it longer, they're not going to read it. 10 paragraphs looks good. I'll either ignore it or I'll put a flag on it and get back to it later. It's 3 months and I still have not gotten back to the flagged email. So if you make your email 5 sentences or less, people are more likely to take action and reply to it. Now, what exactly is this one sheet that you use to promote yourself and demonstrate your value? It's something like this. And it's got 5 different steps to it. The first step is your name and profile picture. That's pretty easy. You just put your name, profile picture, nothing else to it. Second is your brief bio. So if you take from LinkedIn, you're able to copy and paste that, put it on that second part. The third step is to say, what are some of the topics that I can discuss? Some people, they will leave all of these topics as they are, not change them. Others, they will change 1 or 2 of the topics based on what podcast they're going to be on, because different podcasts have different expectations and different topics they cover. The fourth part is social proof. So I've been on a bunch of other podcasts, virtual summits. That's something I can include. If you, anything you can put there, whether it's social media audience, you won some kind of an award, you got featured anywhere, whatever you can do to make your social proof look good, put it in there. And finally, a call to action. So I say, if you want to have me on your show, contact me. My email, marc@marcguberti.com. Because if you do not give them a way to take action, they will not take action. So you have to present that to them. Another way you could approach this is hosting your own show. And I recommend interviewing people for this, because this is how you really build relationships. Think about interviewing some of the most successful people and being able to talk to them for 30 to 45 minutes as if you're on a phone call. That's transformational for you, for what you're able to learn, and for the relationships that you are able to build. And there's also like a solo version you could do for this. I strongly recommend the interview route. But going into the techie stuff, Libsyn is the best hosting site to use for hosting your own podcast. It's just the most professional. It has a lot of stats that it offers, and it gives you access to the big 3, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. You get access to a bunch of other ones as well, but those are the big 3, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, with iTunes currently being the lion's share of the podcasting market. And with podcasting, how exactly do I make money from this? A few ways. Sponsorships, that's what a lot of people think of initially. It's not where you want to go when you first start, because sponsors are looking for a show that's getting a lot of downloads, but you can start promoting your own product. If you don't have a product yet, promote a product as an affiliate and earn a commission for each sale that you are able to get on your own. And also landing pages. Landing page, opt-in page, those names are used interchangeably. So basically a page where you can get someone to join your email list. An added bonus I'll throw in there, create a Facebook group for your podcast listeners and invite them to join, because that's going to build a lot of engagement for your audience. I recommend anyone here, if you want to go this route, have a Facebook group. And one of the other benefits of podcasting, and this is where we get really deep into what it takes to really win with social media, is the repurposing. So I recently interviewed James Clear for Breakthrough Success, and we talked about his book, Atomic Habits. So the moment that we published this episode, we shared that picture where it says E275. As you can see, now you see the Breakthrough Success logo instead of just marcguberti.com down at the bottom. So all of my pictures look like that one that says E275. And we share that right away. Now, a few days later, we share a quote from the episode to keep it in people's minds. So we have that quote about 2, 5, or 10 years later for you to really see the habit taking shape. We share that quote after the episode comes out so people see it and they think, oh wow, I should check out that interview. I really liked that quote. And we include a call to action in the description. And down at the bottom there, that is a YouTube video. So I use a great tool called repurpose.io. All my podcast episodes automatically turn into YouTube videos. That's basically what that tool does for me. So think about ways to repurpose your content. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes or 2 to 3 hours. And you see some of the most successful people and brands doing this. I mean, how many of you have seen the Avengers Endgame trailers? All right, we got Avengers fans here. So basically, they took this 2 or 3 hour movie and they condensed it into like a 2-minute trailer. That is repurposing. Disney's doing it. All the big brands are doing it. We have to do it as well for the content that we produce. And one advanced thing that I will just briefly tap on is virtual summits. If you really like interviewing people, I recommend you take this step. Basically, you interview a lot of people, you put it into a few days, and basically all the people who you interviewed then promote the summit to their audiences using affiliate links. They make revenue for each sale. You're able to grow your audience and make revenue as well. So this is definitely a path that you may not be looking at it right now. I want to plant the seed about this because this is something really great if you enjoy interviewing people and you want to make a good amount of income and be able to grow an audience in the process. So on that note, if you guys want to talk with me more, I'm very happy to schedule some free strategy sessions. contentmarketingplaza.com/call for anyone interested. I talked about the Advanced Influencer Mastermind, so anyone can, if you did that Instagram video of me, as I said, just let me know, and I'll be happy to give you your free month. But that basically wraps up. So we will be taking some questions pretty soon. My brother is also taking strategy calls. His link is michaelguberti.com/schedule, while mine again is contentmarketingclass.com/call. So I know we'll be taking a few questions based on the time that we have.
The first question is, how old are you guys?
I'm 20, my brother is 22.
Very, very impressive.
Thank you.
I guess my other question would be, when you guys were starting out, like, what challenges did you first see with getting yourselves out there, and like, how did you overcome that?
I think in the beginning, it's you feel like it's just you, because when you're online, you're doing online business stuff, like it's just you and a computer. So sometimes it feels like it's just you. So you really got to. I think the biggest thing I'd recommend to anyone is building a network, which is why I also recommend podcasting, because if you interview people, that kind of doubles down as you building an audience and building a network in the process. So I think network is the most important.
What's your view on Facebook and Instagram ads? I know Steve mentioned anything about that.
He knows it better than that.
This must be about ads, right?
Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. They are excellent. Very targeted, very affordable, and scalable. If you can make more than what you're spending, you put some zeros behind the budget, and that's a great way to run a campaign there. Also, if you want, if you want ninja trick for that, advertise on mobile first, and then advertise on desktop after. Because most people, when they're about to make a purchasing decision, tend to, and I'm not saying all, maybe 60-40, 60% make it on a desktop. Like, where do you buy most of your Amazon products? On a computer, on a phone, maybe different for different people, but advertise on mobile first and then finish to get the conversion, the sale, on desktop. Good question. So now, social media questions. This is an opportunity for social media questions. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Yeah, about Facebook. So since Facebook is mostly a paid play platform, what are some free resources you can utilize to increase following base?
I would do Facebook groups. That is probably the biggest, because you build a community of people where it's not just something that shows up in the feed, but it's something people are consciously searching for on Facebook if the group is really good.
Groups, live video too.
What kind of services were you using for your opt-in email list?
I use ConvertKit. My brother uses MailChimp. MailChimp is free for the first 2,000 subscribers, so it's definitely the more affordable shoestring route.
And what's the one you use?
I use that MailChimp.
He uses MailChimp.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
ConvertKit.
Convert.